All right. What's up, everybody? My people in Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, or Staten Island, my homeborough, Brooklyn. Back out with another video. This will be on Stephen A. Smith's quote-unquote controversial, quote-unquote xenophobic statements about baseball superstar Shohei Ohtani. It says right here, ESPN Stephen A. Smith admits he screwed up on his Shohei Ohtani comments. Smith initially doubled down on his comments about Ohtani. Listen, his comments weren't really that offensive to me or xenophobic. They were just, honestly, I think coming from a business standpoint, and look, let me explain. Stephen A. Smith basically said baseball is trying to get back to being popular like it was back in the 90s, 80s, 70s, hell, the early 2000s. It's trying to get back to that point of popularity again. Okay, in order for it to get back to that point, the face of the league, in this case being Shohei Ohtani, should be able to speak English. He should be marketable. And look, Shohei Ohtani is a great player. I love watching the guy. Okay? Look, obviously the last great player who played both pitcher and was a great slugger, was Babe Ruth. But to call Shohei Ohtani the next Babe Ruth, I'm not gonna really do that. It's a bit much for me right now. But hey, it is what it is. But the number one guy in the league, Shohei Ohtani, should, for marketability purposes, he should be able to speak English because you're playing here in the United States of America. And look, don't get it twisted. We've had guys who've had interpreters, like the closer for the Yanks, or Rodlos Chapman. He has an interpreter, I believe. Vladimir Guerrero had an interpreter because he speaks straight Dominican. Or he speaks fake Spanish, excuse me. He is Dominican, but he speaks Spanish, excuse me. I'm pretty sure there are other guys who have interpreters, but are they the face of the league? Like, no disrespect to Vladimir Guerrero, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, all-time great slugger, all-time great player. But he was a top 10 player, but he was never like the face of the league during his prime, the top dog. Okay, Shohei Ohtani is the top dog. He's right now the coming attraction. Major League Baseball is marketing him as come one, come all. See Shohei Ohtani, and I'm pretty sure the American fans want to hear him speak. One way we hear him speak is through an interpreter. Of course, I know a lot of people say, oh, well, we don't need him to speak English to know he's a great player or watch him. Well, yeah, but what about marketing? The dude can't speak English. Okay, he's Japanese. But now let's get into this. ESPN Stephen A. Smith hammered home an apology on Monday night after making insensitive remarks about Los Angeles Angels star Shohei Ohtani and seemingly doubled down on them by saying MLB stars learning English would help promote the sport better. And I agree. For marketability purposes, Shohei Ohtani probably should learn English because right now they're marketing him. Come one, come all. See Shohei Ohtani. How are you supposed to get endorsement deals and do commercials for dudes you can't speak English? At least learn a little English. Ichiro Suzuki, the last great, I think Ichiro's Japanese, the last great Japanese star in Major League Baseball. Even he learned English to a degree. Ichiro was, he was exciting and he spoke English. Exciting to watch back when he was in Seattle. But anyway, after whiffing on clarifying his comments in a Twitter video and subsequent tweet, Smith wrote a lengthy apology note. Yeah, I'm sure he did. I'm sincerely sorry. Stephen A. Smith bending the knee as usual. But anyway, let me apologize right now. As I'm watching things unfold, let me say that I never intended to offend any community, particularly the Asian community, and especially Shohei Ohtani himself. As an African American, keenly aware of the damage stereotyping has done to many in this country, it should have elevated my sensitivities even more. Based on my words, I failed in that regard, and it's on me and me alone. Ohtani is one of the brightest stars in all sports. He is making a difference as it pertains to inclusiveness and leadership. I should have embraced that in my comments. Instead, I screwed up. In this day and age, with all the violence being perpetuated against the Asian community, my comments, albeit unintentional, were clearly insensitive and regrettable. Not really, but whatever. There's simply no other way to put it. I'm sincerely sorry for any angst I've caused in my comments on First Take this morning. Again, I'm sorry, and I'll happily reiterate these words more extensively tomorrow morning as well. Listen, I'm going to go back to something he said. As an African American, keenly aware of the damage stereotyping has done to many in this country, it should have elevated my sensitivity even more. That's basically, CNA, put the shoe on the other foot programming that the liberal media has promoted to people. Put the shoe on the other foot. What if that was you? Was like, for example, you ever speak out against the feminist agenda, they'll say, "What about your mother? What if that was your daughter?" or shit like that. Steven, how can you be so insensitive towards Asian American community? You're a black man. Look at what you guys been through. So you should be more man. Look, listen, there are Asian dudes, there are Korean dudes, Japanese dudes, Chinese dudes who don't speak a word of English, who own laundromats and bodegas here in New York City. Like, remember the movie Do the Right Thing? You had the Korean couple. They owned that little bodega in a black neighborhood. And remember, though, if you've seen Do the Right Thing, remember the older guys. I forget their names. One of them was played by Robin Harris, and another one of them was a Jamaican man. But they said black people have been trying to buy that building for years now, years, decades. And this Korean family's been here for a couple months, and they get to own it. That was the point he brought up in the movie, and he was right. These Middle Eastern dudes, Asians, whomever, come to open up businesses in the black community, not speak any English, and make mad guap. Okay, so I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for these motherfuckers. And I don't give a shit who don't like that. These motherfuckers got more cachet. Man, listen, they have more cachet than us. They have a strong culture. They stay within their culture. Okay, they're a patriarchy, which of course allows them to have a strong culture. They're trying to destroy that here in America, and they have generational wealth. They encourage their kids to be, doctors, lawyers, business owners, so on and so forth. Okay, we don't promote that in the African American community. We speak about it, but we don't actually do it. Well, I mean, we speak about that, but we don't do it. But so I don't feel. But once again, I don't feel bad for these motherfuckers at all. And a lot of brothers don't feel bad for them. That's why a lot of brothers, African American and quote unquote West Indians here in America, that's why that's why they're a little tight right now with the Asian Americans, because that's why they're a little tight. It's like, man, these motherfuckers, they got more money than us, they got more cachet and power than us, and now we got supposed to feel bad for them? Fuck that. That's what a lot of brothers feel like. Trust me, my friends and I, we've been talking about it ever since they've been perpetuating that Stop Asian Hate bullshit. They've been pushing that. We've all been talking about it, and we can all see through the bullshit. But anyway, let's moving on. Smith initially caused a stir when he said Ohtani's emergence as MLB's top star wasn't necessarily a good thing because he has to speak through an interpreter. He said that stars like Ohtani speaking through an interpreter isn't good for baseball's marketability in the United States. And let me say this back to the business thing. My father, my grandfather, who was born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica, came to the United States, to open his own business. But he tells me it took him a while to get his business going. Same thing with my old man, my dad, and his business. It took him a while. My grandfather, on my mother's side, is from the Bahamas. My mother was actually born in the Bahamas, but raised here in Queens. But raised in Queens, New York. I live in Brooklyn, but she was raised in Queens. But he told me it took him a while to get his business going. They wouldn't. So he had to pretty much put it all together by himself without these motherfuckers help assisting him. He told me he tried to get a building to get his business going. He didn't get it, but they gave it to, surprise, surprise. I think he said it was an Asian an Asian couple. So so I'm not gonna say I know firsthand, but I have an idea of what those brothers and Do the Right Thing were talking about. Okay, moving on. But the fact that you got a foreign player that doesn't speak English and he's an interpreter, believe it or not, I think contributes to harming the game to some degree. When that's your box office appeal, and he's somebody like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, those guys, and unfortunately at this moment in time, that's not the case. Again, what Stephen A. Smith is saying, for the marketability of baseball in the United States, for baseball to get back to being popular in the United States of America, being the top dog, being America's pastime, the top dogs should be able to speak English. It doesn't necessarily have to be white, but they have to speak English. And I think it's where people got Stephen A. Smith confused. I think people were just confused. Stephen A. Smith saying, "Oh, so what? You don't want a Japanese player as the face of baseball?" I don't think Stephen A. meant it like that. He clearly didn't mean it like that. He should speak English. If you're a sport trying to ingratiate yourself with the American public the way Major League Baseball is because of the problems that you've been having to deal with in terms of proving the attractiveness of the sport, it helps if you spoke the English language. It doesn't mean anything more than that. Exactly, and I agree with you. Smith pointed out that baseball's audience skews older than some of its competition, like the NBA and the NFL in the United States, and that Ohtani was only the focus of conversation because of how well he's performing in baseball right now. We know that it is an international sport. We know that that's great, and baseball having the global appeal that is fine. Fine, but in the United States, all I was saying is that when you're a superstar, if you can speak the English language, then guess what? That's going to make it that much easier and less challenging to promote the sport. That's all I was saying about anybody. I understand where you're coming from, Stephen A. Smith, but tell me, do y'all agree with Stephen A. Smith? Tell me in the comment section down below. Click the like button, subscribe, make sure you stay subscribed. Hey, do y'all have any stories like that? Y'all have, parents or grandparents who are from, the quote unquote West Indies, or from, are you Nigerian and your parents moved here, grandparents moved to the United States, and they had trouble getting businesses started, getting loans from the banks, and so on and so forth? Y'all tell me. See y'all.